this is screencast 9 of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, Introduction to Vectorworks Screencasts. This is just the final mop-up of the basic shapes from the basic tool palette that I haven't covered yet. Ones that are maybe less used but still worthwhile knowing. So we have covered lines, double lines, rectangles, and there's one right next to it called a rounded rectangle. So the rounded rectangle, as you might expect, makes a rounded rectangle. The preferences box here, there is corner styles. We have symmetrical corners, proportional corners. I don't know how it works this out, proportional corners and symmetrical corners. If I just leave that and draw a rectangle, it draws it with some nice rounded corners. Of course, in the object info, we can change this, so we can make it a maybe 900. Tested this, 900 by 900, kind of didn't look that much different. Maybe make it a lot less, 300. It's a bit sharper there, so we can change them. Symmetrical, proportional corners. If you don't want it to do that and you want to put your own numbers in, so there's 1000, and draw the thing again. It's well, I'll draw it the same size so you can see it, but just using smart points as we saw in the last one. You can see there's the same kind of dimensions but with different radii on the round, or different roundedness of the rounded rectangle. Can do it here. There are other ways of doing that. You can just draw a rectangle and then use the fillet tool, which we'll look at a little bit later, to make the corners. If I use my own argument, this is the proper tool to do it in. Set it up rather than drawing an object and then changing it, as I kind of chastised people for in the earlier screencast, but it's your own personal workflow. Okay. Ovals are here. We have different modes: box mode, height and width mode, and center mode. So just play around with those just so you can get an idea of how to draw different kinds of ovals. You never know, you might need them. Not a huge amount of editability with the oval here, apart from width and height, but that's fine. Arcs here are, we saw something similar in the polyline tool. So these arcs are, they have more flexibility than the polyline mode, so it could be a case of you use these in conjunction with the polyline mode, or in conjunction with the lines even, to create objects. Fairly good explanation again. Set center of circle that says there, set radius, start point, and then start end point. So it told me what to do. Center of what would be the circle of the arc, because all arcs would have a, if you continue them around 360, would be a full circle. So I just followed what it asked me to do there. Worth noting that the arcs kind of come in. I'll just change the color of this just to let you see. I don't know why I keep using yellow, but I will. It kind of is like a pie chart. So it's kind of got this fill wedge shape. If you don't want that fill, then you can change the solid fill to none, and then you've only got the line. So if you just want to make the line there. If I did want to add that on to these two objects here, so choose that one and that one, and I could modify compose, and it didn't work. and then I could choose the tool within the polygon. Remember the lasso tool, and I could draw a line around that. Oh, that's a bit bad. And then I've created a new closed shape from that. So that would be a way of creating that. You can still see that the shape exists below it. Remember, it just creates a new silhouette and not it doesn't change this object. It just creates a new silhouette. So if you are doing that, remember you've got a new object. So essentially, if I wasn't paying attention and I selected that, I've got 3 objects and not 1, even though it looks like 1. So there are other ways of doing that I will come to, but it's just an option. So have a look at the arcs here. The 3 points mode, tangents, center, specified radians, point on arc, which was the one I used in the previous polyline tool, and arc length mode, where you know the length of the arc. There's a freehand tool next here, which again, you just click and drag and then you finish it. It has that kind of fill to it again, which is odd. So if you are doing a freehand, chances are you're probably going to want the none fill on that. Can't see how you would, but you never know. The freehand tool has a element of smoothing. The preferences next to it, smoothing medium. If you do high, then, and I try and, okay, if I try and replicate the same kind of shape that I did there, maybe it's not that obvious, but it kind of smooths it out a little bit more. Maybe I'll change it to very high and try that once more. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing again. Yeah, well, you can see very high is almost changed it completely from what I was intending to do. So again, apart from demoing it, I've never used it, but you never know. I keep forgetting to click OK. Regular polygons. So we've looked at polyline, we've looked at polygon, we've looked at double line polygon. There's a regular polygon, meaning it has regular define the amount of sides, and then it has regular length sides. So a 6-sided object, I'm sure you will know, is a hexagon. So the hexagon here, it has a center to edge, center to point, like a pointy part on the hexagon, center to edge, and then the edge mode. So if I choose the edge mode, kind of just instead of choosing the first one every time, and I click along, then you can see, hold down shift, and it's drawn my hexagon there along the edge. Doesn't have to be hexagon, of course. We can go to octagons. You got your octagon there, and you're all in a decagon. Go back from here. There's a 10-sided object, and I'm not going to go any further in my Greek, is it? I don't know. I'm going to go down and do another familiar one that we use sometimes, a triangle, which is a regular polygon, which define the edge there, like that. So define the number of sides and then how you draw it there. And I think the last one, so we've covered all of these shapes. There's a spiral there. I'm just noting it. I've never used it. I don't know what it's for. Oh, it's a little one. Yeah, I don't know what it's for. And I've asked people from Vectorworks about what it's for, and nobody really knows, but it's, well, no one I've spoken to knows, but it's there in the basic tool palette, so if it must be useful for something, but I've never used it. So have a play with, we have now covered pretty much all the basic shapes. There's still more tools in here I've still got to cover, but we've covered all the basic shapes that would allow you to make up objects and quite complicated shapes. We'll go on in the next one to adding and combining shapes together to allow you the flexibility to make complex 2D objects. I'll see you then.